Alright everyone, it's time to talk once again about Seth Rich, because it looks like he has been indicated as likely the DNC leaker. Now, when he first died, in the wake of some of these DNC revelations with John Podesta and so forth, it was widely speculated that he was probably the one involved specifically, and this is alluded to by WikiLeaks, so yeah, I think put two and two together, they're doing everything other than naming the leaker himself outright and literally. It alludes to one of the emails from that batch in which Podesta himself says, oh, I'm not against making an example of some leakers or something like that. Now, how do you make an example of someone who presumably knows that at the very least they've lost their job and so they flee your organization after dropping all that material off at WikiLeaks' doorstep, or apparently Guccifer 2.0's, as the case may be, and that's also indicated that there was involvement there, and I think that explains why people thought it was the Russians, because if he was, yeah, that's why Russian fingerprints are on it, because there was a Russian middleman that was first approached with the documents who then submitted them to WikiLeaks, and you were too dumb to realize that that doesn't mean that that's the person who obtained them in the first place, I guess. But then again, their cybersecurity was apparently so lax, with Obama 08 as the password to a lot of their systems, it wouldn't have taken a rocket scientist to obtain them in the first place. But how do you think they make an example of a leaker within a major, especially presidential political campaign? I'd probably have them killed or disappeared, as the case may be. Oh, yeah, he's gone missing. He's been missing for a month. I wonder where he could be. Could he be floating around faintly at the bottom of the river with concrete shoes or something like that? Yeah, probably. Either that or has been sold into human trafficking in Haiti or something like that, where they pump cereal boxes full of crack and heroin into Florida. Regardless, though, yeah, it looks like somebody had him killed. Now, it looks like Seth Rich was indeed probably the DNC leaker. Not that that wasn't widely speculated anyway. People already said that. They said, oh, died under mysterious circumstances. Apparently paranoid at the time. This is the overlap with Michael Hastings' death 2 years before. Now, when he started going after the FBI head, he too was in consultation with WikiLeaks legal staff and was apparently like all fucked out at the time, all paranoid. And then he just goes flying off, you know, he passes out in his car and his car just takes off like a rocket. And then it explodes and then it hits stuff. Oh, it's so mysterious. And then they cremate the body against the family's wishes before they have a chance to hire for an independent autopsy that doesn't involve the state. How convenient, yeah, that there were no human remains for them to study. And I think they, didn't they destroy also parts of the car very quickly too, again, against the wishes of the family. Very mysterious. And then wasn't there some government lawyer that also was representing them and they didn't seem too happy about that, but didn't want to make a peep? I wonder why that was. Same with Seth Rich's family. There's a lot of overlap between the two. Now, riddle me this, which makes more sense? Seth Rich gets paranoid, leaves the Democratic Party, apparently, right in the wake of the obtaining of these documents by WikiLeaks, the DNC leaks. He's all paranoid. There's major leaking happening. At least one per higher up within the Democratic Party is alluding to silencing or making an example of leakers or whistleblowers. And he just randomly gets shot by a serial killer, just out of the blue. He's walking home, he gets shot in the back, serial killer walks off. Or the police, official story, he got mugged but nothing was taken from him. Well, that was one weird mugger right there. Does that make more sense, or does it make more sense that some hitman decided to air him out as an example to others not to do what Seth Rich did? I think the latter is probably more simplistic. I think it's a more realistic explanation of what we're seeing. So what appears to have happened is that Guccifer 2.0 had some Democratic documents that he had obtained and, you know, starts talking about them. Seth Rich realizes that there's some shoddy shit going on within the DNC, obtains a hell of a lot more documents himself because he has the capability to do so, either him or someone associated with him, maybe someone with more security clearance than he had. He then gives them over to Guccifer, who either then instructs Seth Rich to, or himself does, give the documents to WikiLeaks. I think that appears to be what happened. So Seth Rich was almost certainly the DNC leaker, or at least was part of this leak from the DNC. It's not entirely clear. WikiLeaks said before that they wouldn't disclose who it was, but they could assure that it wasn't Russians. Why would they be so sure? Well, they got it from someone who is supposedly Russian, but that wasn't the origin of the actual documents, because Guccifer wasn't the one who first obtained them. He got them from Seth Rich. Not the biggest ass surprise in the political world. And anyone saying, oh, well, you know, the Democratic Party would never have someone killed. It's a corporation, of course they would. They stand to lose billions and billions of dollars. The Clintons and also everyone associated with the campaign collectively losing billions and billions of dollars when they lose a presidential race. Especially one with such a massive corporate fundraising apparatus, with so many wealthy friends from all the Goldman Sachs and so forth of the world, and the Merrill Lynches of the world. No shit they would have somebody killed. You think they think that any specific human being is worth several billion dollars? They probably don't even value them in thousands of dollars. It's cheap. It's easy for them to hire some random capo hitman to shoot somebody in the back and walk off. It's easy. They've got the money. They've got a reason to do so. They're openly alluding to wanting to make an example of whistleblowers right in the wake of this. Put two and two together. What do you think actually happened? And don't need to be a nutter to believe that that's within the realm of possibility. It's happened before in world history. It's not like our government is so shining, so virtuous that it would never stoop to Soviet-style levels within its political structure. That just makes sense. A lot of money to be made, a lot of power to be had. No shit they're going to have the occasional person killed if they need to. When they get word that somebody who has seen all of these documents anyway has probably given them over already, they say, whoops, we can't let that happen again. Let's make sure that this death looks really, really conspicuously like an assassination. Yeah, let's make sure. And then we'll take one of our own lawyers and jerry-rig it for the family. Oh, don't worry, this person will represent you to the media. They'll do the talking. Just shut up. Here's $100 grand or something like that. Yeah, it's possible that's what happened. It's entirely possible. You look back again, Michael Hastings. You look at the corporate hatchet job on Snowden when he dared to leak material years ago under the Obama administration. The same kind of shit. A lot of character assassination, a lot of muddying of the waters, a hell of a lot of obvious propaganda from government officials, of course, the Clinton campaign having people entrenched within the Obama administration. You know, Clinton was working for Obama prior as a Secretary of State. And it wasn't just Clinton's campaign either. Clinton officials were the ones primarily facing problems as the result of this. This goes further, though. This goes into all the Senate campaigns, all the House campaigns, gubernatorial seats, many of which they lost because they got wiped out on the state level. I can't wait to weigh in a little while, maybe later, maybe tomorrow, maybe next week or something, on really how badly the Democratic Party is performing right now. And it still hasn't congealed around some sort of anti-Trump figure like it had in the past. You get one central figure sort of leading the charge, presumptive next presidential contender, at least a major one, or at least the major standard bearer of the out party, as it were. Right now, they're still operating in a weird, weak, oligarchic fashion. They get 5 or 6 different people that are all sort of vying for power while at the same time trying to attack Trump. It's not even really working. As far as Seth Rich, what do we know? We know he's dead. We know he died under mysterious circumstances, and we know that that happened around the same time that this leak crap was happening. That's what we know. We now, in addition to that, have pretty good evidence that he was connected with Guccifer 2.0 and WikiLeaks, and at least was connected to the DNC leaks. Then, just watch, maybe WikiLeaks comes out and said, oh yeah, Seth Rich wasn't the actual leaker, he was involved, but he got cold feet and they aired him out as an example, and we don't even know necessarily ourselves who the real leaker was, because he died before he could actually reveal that. Maybe it was someone, maybe it was Chelsea Clinton, as a joke. Wouldn't that be funny? You know, she remembers that time that her mom didn't buy her the Barbie race car, and she said, well, I know how I'm going to get back at Mom, and so she decides to destroy her presidential campaign. I don't think that actually happened, but it'd be like legendary in hilarity if it did. No, Seth Rich was probably the DNC leaker. If not, he almost certainly had involvement. We didn't need this revelation to know that that was likely. Even at the time that he died, it was already likely. That was the main speculation of anyone who wasn't a diehard Clinton fan. Even the Bernie bros were saying that. Oh, this is mysterious. I wonder what could have possibly happened here. Now WikiLeaks is openly alluding to this same Podesta letter that they themselves leaked from this trove, saying, oh yeah, we're going to make an example of one of these whistleblowers at some point here. Yeah, I wonder who you made an example of. I wonder who that could possibly have been. I'm sure it was the dude who got fired and inconvenienced and then blacklisted so he couldn't get anything other than a pizza delivery job. I'm sure that's what he meant. It has nothing to do with bullets in dark alleyways or anything like that. No, none of the mafioso stuff could possibly apply. We all know the Democratic Party would never stoop to such levels. That's about all. Peace out.